Hello. All right, so this is another episode of let me see. I should. All right, so it's basically another episode of working on tunes extended. I'm gonna be working on some music, obviously, like I always do. Let's see. All right. All right, we go. So I got a couple things working on. It's just basically playing some guitar shit, really. You know, I got songs I'm working on. I got one that I'm gonna pull up that I previously worked on some fiddles for it, guitars. But I don't really like it, so I'm gonna sort of go listen to it and re-record it. Also, I don't even remember what I recorded, so that's gonna be one thing. So I'm gonna mess with a few things. I'm gonna work probably. I try to do a few things. So I'm gonna go through those songs. Also, I want to record actually two of the last week's what was it the fuck Swola. Yeah. You know, I downloaded like this week's and last week's Swola drum, so that'll be coming soon. I'll do a couple of videos for those because it was actually pretty good drum patterns and shit. So I want to upload some more. I see one other person really uploading Swola challenges every week. I don't really see much other people, so I guess I'll go and check it out, other people's Swolas and shit. But I don't know. I did that one where it was like 4 or 5 songs, and it was like, blah. I mean, the songs were good. I don't even remember none of the riffs, which is really fucked up. So, but I think I'm gonna riff farm it for another song because there were a couple of good riffs in there, ill riffs in it I want to use, you know. But anyway, so that's one thing. The other thing too is, you know, obviously if you watch my shit, you know, you see that I, you know, make some drum and bass beats and all different types of EDM. But and I wanted to put some guitar to some of the EDM, but I was thinking more of like clean stuff. But I was watching. There's this group out there called the Nova Twins, right? And it's crazy because it's basically these two chicks that are like, I mean, they're young and they're pretty much, their sound is like just off the wall. I mean, I can't even really categorize it because it got a lot of rock elements, a lot of pop elements. But the one thing I saw her was doing, she was this EDM, drum and bass type beat using the guitar, but with like a whammy pedal or like a pitch shifter, which I have. And I'm always looking for like crazy different sounds to go over like the drum and bass patterns and stuff. So it's like, why the fuck didn't I think of that? So not that I'm gonna bite her song, you know what I'm saying, Nova Twin song or the beat, but I have my own drum and bass pattern. So yeah, I think I'm gonna like the next drum and bass song I'm gonna do some pitch shifted guitar. So I'm gonna mess around with that as well. So yeah, just pontificating for a bunch of nothing. So from here, I'm just gonna go ahead and start fucking working. So anybody watching, roll up. You know, I was gonna, you know, let's see. Yeah, so that's the agenda. We're gonna go over a couple songs that I've already written. These are gonna be songs for like my demo. So, like the last one I did an extended for, you know, that one's solid. That's the song, and I'm gonna play that one as well. One thing I'm going to do too with these songs that I'm writing is I'm gonna fucking do some tabs for them, because it's just crazy. Because sometimes it's like it's like my writing, my handwriting is shit. So I write a bunch of stuff down that I can't even read it. So it's like sometimes it's like, how did I do that riff again? And it's like a lot of that's just due to my my crazy fucking tuning a little bit. Sometimes I can't, you know, if it was like straight tuning, sometimes like, okay, yeah, there's the chord and shit like that. But it's like, yo, how did I get those sounds? You know, because this is just real weird. Because what I try to do with the tuning that I use, it's like you have your sort of bass sound, and then you have melody over, but not like, I don't necessarily say melody. I would say it's more like chaos, dissonance, and, you know, just sort of weird sounds that I could make just from chords. You know what I mean? So that's what I try to find with when I'm making the songs, is just sort of ways to make the chords heavy chords, but extend the sounds a little bit, and then play with that sound. And sometimes it'd be like the main note, and that's what I try to do a lot, is droning. Droning is something, but anyway, just talking a bunch. I am super zooted, so I gotta go tomorrow or later on today because it's Sunday already. I gotta film like 2 weeks worth of fucking podcasts, and so took a couple of days off because I had filmed like all kinds of shit, and it's crazy. Anyway, anybody watching this, yo, just subscribe, you know, try to get some subscribers. You know, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm at 43. So I got a long road. Oh well, that's life, yo, I guess. All right, so I'm gonna get to the music and shit. And then, like I said before, anybody watch it, roll up. But I gotta unplug the mic, so you won't really be hearing me. I gotta plug the mic into my Kemper. Got a Kemper Mini, so yay! I did achieve that goal last year. But yeah, I gotta plug the mic Quake cable into the Kemper, so I won't be able to do too much talking. I have a mixer. I'm gonna set that mixer up this way I can plug in the Kemper and the mic and have them both going at the same time. Yeah, coming right up. Also, I'm trying to see, because I'm trying to find that damn last drum and bass beat I did. Let's see, that's it. All right. Yeah, see, that was the last drum and bass pattern I was working on, and obviously, I need a lot of work for it. A lot of work. I had to do a lot of work to it. So maybe I won't be doing too much of the guitar work with the drum and bass song, but I'm gonna in the next working on tunes, the live one where I'm working on strictly beats. I'm gonna just obviously work on this one because this one is shit. Um, then I'm going to make a drum bass pattern for just that I'm gonna use for my guitar, and then whatever else I'm doing. But so I'm just gonna switch over to the other music. So I'm gonna go ahead and disengage the chord on the Mico over here and bring up the other shit because yeesh. Hello, hello. All right, let me see. They're coming in. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello. Hello, hello. Hello. Anyway, just messing around with the song a little bit. I just want to. I'm definitely changing the whole thing. So I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out the best riff. I have to go back in anyway, and I have to go back in and then actually change the end drum pattern. Maybe extend it a little bit more. Take out a couple of those fucking. It's like some fills. There's like a fill in the actual beat line, and there's like an extra fill, which kind of breaks up the motion of the section. So definitely want to fix that in the drum pattern. Then we work on. I don't know if I want to use that same riff. I was just messing around with the whammy pedal. I mean, I've had it forever. I just don't really mess around with it a lot. So, and I really need to start fucking every day. I'm gonna start that now. It's like an everyday regiment, half hour to hour, just fiddle through. Because I'm tired of these hands not fucking being like the hands aren't fucking. I get after a while I start getting oiled up and like oiled up. Pause. it's like I'm just saying. It's like engine parts. So you got to get them lubed up in order. Pause. But you got to get them sort of lubed up in order to get the shit working right. So I got to feel like I got to get the hands going. I know I saw some exercises for the hand. Nita Strauss. Saw her one day doing an interview and she showed like the exercises. So I usually try to do that before I start playing, but I just fucking didn't think about it. So, but if I would play every day, half hour to hour, the shits would be limber. Yeah, so I got a lot of work to do, and take a little rest, and then I got, like I said, this last week, I luckily for me, the week before I filmed like a whole bunch of shit because I wasn't really feeling too well this week, and I got some family issues that's sort of hanging over. So it's especially the music part because sometimes the pain can fuel you, but then sometimes you just sort of start feeling sort of bogged down with life, and then it's like, ugh, I don't even want to do it. Some days, man, past few weeks, I just been sort of stuck. You know what I mean? Just sitting there, just watching YouTube and just blowing L's. Pause. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, yeah, sometimes it just like I got to get up first thing in the morning, do my workout, and then just work all day. So that's gonna be tomorrow or today. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to get my shit fucking. If I can get my page monetized a little and get a little bit of cash coming in, that makes so much difference. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit about like hundreds of thousands and millions. You know what I'm saying? I can make a good little 25 to 3 grand a month. I'm good. It's just me anyway, so and I can reinvest a little bit of bread into the the page and then podcast and you know what I'm saying, and to pay some bills, which is always good. I get that. I'm good. You know what I mean? The projects I got to fund them, so that's what it's been a problem for me a long time. I've been YouTube mad years, but there's been like a gap, you know what I mean, from like all the times I start making videos and shit. So like this is like only thing I can really do at the moment. I mean, I could do a bunch of other shit, but I'm not interested in it. 49. I don't want to do any fucking go back to school to learn shit. Don't want to do law. Don't want to do engineering or just want to play guitar and make videos. So can't do shit like construction, no order work, or anything like that. Bad leg, so. Either way, I'm gonna be thinking about that damn drum pattern now, because now that I listened to it, what I put over it before was just sort of like, it's like, and then for some reason, every time I come up with a new drum pattern, or I start using sort of the same riffs from the previous, so that's why I'm not committing right now to any specific sort of riff for that. You know, I want it to be heavy, but it's gonna be heavy, but it's gonna be layers to it, like as always. I mean, you can hear just the. Plus, it's fun just to noodle. And noodle. That's that. I don't know. I got a little chirping sound from the whammy pedal. I really don't know how to get rid of it, so I'm gonna do some covers eventually. Use the whammy pedal for a few things. You know, obviously becoming. I'm going to attempt a guitar vocal cover with the whammy. I'm not going to program in the whammy effect. So, like, I don't have to, I want to be able to, so it's like, don't have the greatest voice, but I'm going to try singing. So it's like you playing the song, which is sort of easy, sort of not. I mean, it is, you know, Dimebag listening to fucking literally since Cowboys from Hell came out. So it was what, 20-something years ago? I should definitely be able to. It's not. I already learned it, but then I forgot it, and then I got to relearn it. So it's a matter of muscle memory. So he's like to play guitar and then sing at the same time. So you got to remember. You got to remember the words. You got to remember the notes. You got to remember the feel, because, you know, saying Dimebag wasn't just about just the notes. It was about a feel. And do all that on the guitar, singing at the same time, all while fucking hitting the whammy cues. Not hard. We get it done. Anyway, day's long, sun is hot. Might as well smoke. We got some pot. I'm out.